If you want to learn how to code, the language you start with doesn't really matter. I see too many people, beginners, asking if they should drop PHP to learn Node.js just because their favorite content creator, me, said they should start with Node.js. If you're asking that question and that is truly a deciding factor for you, just imagine that every month your favorite programming content creator recommends a new language. You will never learn if you have to listen to them every single time. I will show you the ultimate blueprint you need to follow to learn programming effectively. So this video is going to be very helpful, yet an untypical blueprint to learn programming and actually start building real stuff. This video is not a programming roadmap. I won't be talking too much about technologies you should learn because there are already a gazillion of videos on that on the internet. I myself have even already made a couple of videos talking about what languages you should learn if you want to become a full stack developer, so you can check that out. In this video, we'll just be talking about the things you should follow in order to learn how to build real stuff and stay consistent throughout your learning journey. So let's start with the fundamental thing. I know many people who have gone through a 4-year university degree program in computer science and don't even know how to code, don't know what Git is, don't know the difference between front-end development and back-end development, and are basically clueless for the most part when it comes to programming. And this is in part because universities teaches too many other difficult courses like calculus, but it has a lot to do with the learner not really having genuine interest in programming. And this is because they mainly got into the field to make lots of money, because yeah, software engineers definitely make a whole bunch of money. Though making lots of money theoretically should be a good source of motivation, practically when doing something that requires long periods of focus, it is generally a bad thing to have a leading motivation as money. Just imagine someone you know who is really good at sports like basketball, football, or any other competitive sport. Do you think they are good at this sport because they are motivated by the money and motivated by the fact that they can one day go pro? Obviously not, because the chances of getting pro is very slim. Yet they learn it every single day and they get good at the game. And the major reason they are good at it and find time to practice regularly is because they have developed a genuine interest in the game. They might just love winning, or they might just love being among the strongest on the field, or it may make them feel good about themselves, but there is definitely something that is sparked from an emotion in them that is actually difficult to explain just using simple words. The same thing goes with programming. I personally learned programming because I thought I could build stuff that could impact people around me and help me in some way, shape or form. So I was learning programming to build stuff, and it's thanks to this abstract motive that kept me going, even though sometimes it felt like I wasn't really making any progress. And ultimately today I can earn with my skills, but that is not what kept me going when things started going tough. If you don't have any interest in learning programming for the sake of building things, or for the sake of getting better, or because you enjoy it, the ultimate way to develop interest in anything is to actually get good at it. So this particular one will just require sheer discipline and dedication, but you definitely need it in order to get better. And the better you get good at something, the more natural it will become to you. And once you're good at something, that is when you actually develop a form of passion. Now that you know that the fundamental thing to do is to develop genuine interest in it, the next crucial step in this untypical blueprint is to embrace the struggle. I see too many beginners expecting coding to be a smooth ride, like watching a tutorial and instantly becoming a master. Newsflash, it doesn't work that way. The struggle is where the learning happens. When you're banging your head against the wall trying to fix a bug, or when you're completely lost in the sea of documentation, that is when your brain is forming those vital neural connections, and you need those to actually understand what's going on and get good. Remember that confusion is the pinnacle of learning. If you're not confused, you're not learning. So instead of running away from the hard parts, you have to lean into them. Celebrate your errors, cherish your bugs. Each one is part of the process you must go through. And the next thing, which is a very controversial thing for people to hear, is that you should stop watching so many tutorials. I'll even say stop watching tutorials. Yes, you heard me right. Stop watching tutorials, because tutorial hell is real and it keeps you from making real progress. Watching someone else code is like watching someone else work out. You might learn a few techniques, learn how it's done, but you're not getting any stronger. The key is to start building projects as soon as possible. So yeah, watch tutorials at the beginning, get going, but as soon as you've watched a a few tutorials, get straight into building stuff, and just turn off tutorials as a whole and never watch tutorials again in your whole life. Yeah, you might watch tutorials if you need something particularly done, but you get the point. Now, in terms of building projects, there is a little catch. Don't just build any project. Build something that you actually need. If you have a problem in your daily life, try to solve it with code. If you hate how your favorite website looks, you can build your own version. The projects that solve real problems for you are the ones you'll be motivated to finish, and they are the ones that will teach you the most. And I always tell people that this is actually how I did to get better at coding. After learning programming for a few weeks, it was just like 2-3 weeks, I hopped on a project that I was genuinely interested in. And this project solved a problem I was facing on a daily basis, and I took about 2 or 3 weeks to learn what I needed to learn in order to build that project. And in the process of trying to build that project, I was learning. That was the main thing I was doing, trying to build that project. I eventually built the project, published it, got people to use it, and this single project really unlocked my brain and ultimately made me know that this is what I need in order to build apps, in order to ship apps, and in order to think like a developer who is actually trying to build something for people to use. So working on projects you're genuinely interested in and solves a problem in your life is one of the best ways to learn how to code, and you should definitely start doing it if you're not already doing it yet. Next up, you need to learn to read code and not just write it. This is a skill that is often overlooked, but it's absolutely crucial. Spend time reading open source projects if you can, if you have the time, but this is not a must. At first, it'll feel like trying to decipher hello graphics, but stick with it, and over time you'll start to recognize patterns, understand different coding styles, and pick up the best practices that you never learn from tutorials alone. This one might sound crazy. Teach what you've learned even if you are still a beginner. You might be thinking, but I barely know anything myself, and that's exactly the point. Teaching forces you to solidify your understanding. It basically exposes the gaps in your knowledge, and trust me, nothing motivates you to learn something thoroughly like knowing you'll have to explain it to someone else. And lastly, and this is perhaps the most important point, and it is to fall in love with the process and not the goal. Yes, becoming a professional developer or launching your own startup are great goals. But if you're only coding for those end results, you're going to burn out long before you get there. Learn to enjoy the daily grind of coding, the problem solving, the constant learning, the small victories when you finally get something work. So you see that coding is not just about writing lines of syntax. It's basically a way of thinking, a way of behaving, a method of approaching problems. It's about creativity, logic, and perseverance. You're basically mixing all that together. If you follow these blueprints, not only will you learn how to code, but you'll transform the way you think about the world around you. So if you've reached the end of this video, you might now be wondering, where do you start if you want to learn how to code? I have another video that I'll link just up here where you can know about all the steps you need to take in order to learn how to code, all the languages you have to learn, and all the concepts and things you have to understand when learning how to code. So thank you for watching this video and making it up to the end. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know in the comment section, and see you in the next one.